After 2 months training, time to do an FTP test.
I'm in the big leagues, told her don't miss me. Ballin' like Houston, ayy, feeling like Whitney. I need a bag, bruh, send it through quick.
I really need a haircut. I'm gonna set everything up and we will start. Okay, so we are starting the FTP test. Things that happen always. Okay, at least it was in the very beginning. Yes, we can start now after changing the batteries. To give you some information, so an FTP test is basically a functional threshold power test, which means the amount of power you can sustain for a whole hour. But we are going to be doing a ramp test since, in my case at least, I did it 2 months ago. This one is much shorter than that, and it's probably closer to the amount of power you can sustain for 20 minutes. Those two are the most well-known ones, I would say, the 20 minutes test and the 1 hour test. But in the end, we are not professionals. We are not going to be at least racing full power this year. So for me, it's more than enough to know where my zones are in order to train properly just with the ramp test. So we are going to be doing that one, and I'm doing it in MyWhoosh. I used to use Swift in the past, but to be honest, it got too expensive for me, and I made a switch to MyWhoosh last year. This is for free. Amazing piece of software, if you ask me, just for nothing basically. So we are going to be doing it here, so let's see how it goes. And as you see, we are starting with a warm-up, very easy. At the moment, I'm gonna share the numbers here, but we are, before starting the FTP test, we are at around 3.3 watts per kilo with my current weight. I will need to check because I haven't weighted myself in the last 2 months, but I think that the power numbers should be better than 2 months ago. I'm definitely curious to see it, so let's see. Worth mentioning, in this ramp test, you are supposed to remain seated. We are halfway done with the warm-up, and soon we are going to start ramping up. The way this works is we are going to start very slow at 119 watts, which is even lower than recovery zone. And after that, every minute we are going to be ramping up around 13 watts per minute, and this is where things start to get interesting. Three, two, one. The real test begins. For me, my ideal cadence is always in between 85 and 95 RPMs. This is in the end how many times your legs spin per minute. I'm very used to high cadence, so for me that's ideal, and that's why I try to keep it always at around 90. I know some people that are more powerful, they are perfectly comfortable with 80. Just find your cadence, try to be as efficient as possible in order to reach the latest steps, because the more you stay on the bike, the higher your FTP is going to be. So far this range and the following step is what for me has been zone 2 these 2 months, which is Fair enough if you ask me. It still feels comfortable, but I think that from now on, little by little, I have to start shutting up because this is going to get hard.
I want everything.
Make the switch to stone 3.
I am her, I am
About to pass the 200 watts barrier.
I am everything. Get that money, get that blink. I want everything.
Very well said. Threshold power territory. Now we are going to see how my heart rate decouples completely from my power. We're going to shut up. Remember, smooth cadence, and don't forget to drink
I want everything.
as long as you can.
Everything. Do like this when you are the boss.
Try to control your breathing.
Game changer, razor bar. Let them
Come on.
depend on making noise. I do everything.
This is really starting to hurt.
Noise, I don't do no better voice. See me killing it, yeah. I am the boss, the one in the mirror. I got the ball, I'm killing it, yeah. Take the stats and really appear. Oh, see me killing it, yeah. I am the boss, the one in the mirror. I got the ball, I'm killing it, yeah. Take the stats and really appear. I am everything. I want everything. I want everything. She. I am everything. You move like this when you the boss. Move like this when you decide. All I do is raise a bar. I get whatever I want. Do like this when you were the boss. Get the money, play the part. Ain't nobody in my spot. Move over, I'm the boss. I am the boss. Really, I am the boss. I am the boss. I raise the bar. I am her, I am them, I am everything. Get that money, get that thing. I want everything. I want everything. I am everything.
I think this effort alone is worth it as soup, right? I think I didn't commit enough, but still we should see an improvement from the last time. Let's see later on. We'll analyze it on the laptop. I wanted to record the conclusions with natural light, but this is the situation. It's fucking snowing. This shows that you can never trust Swiss winter. So we are going to proceed to analyze the data that we got from the FTP. Okay, so let's take a look at the raw data in the laptop. So here we are. I use this as my main platform for following my trainings, following my performance, and this is today's FTP test. So as far as you can see here, we improved our FTP to 242 watts. So this is the new FTP that we are going to take as a base for our trainings, especially to establish the zone 2 base. And I just use this to have a sight of what's happening in my body once I hit certain power, also to see how my heart rate is doing in general. Here you can find plenty of information. In the end, if you have a power meter or a turbo trainer, will make your life much easier. If not, you can perfectly go only with the heart rate. And also this ride I was riding for less than 30 minutes, so you can see how even though this curve today is telling us that my power would go lower, we can tell that since I have been riding much longer than that my power stays the same for hours and hours. And this is a very good metric that we can check here, and same with this thing here in the power curves. I think this is a very powerful data. I'm not an expert by any means, but you can definitely take a look here, because I'm sure you will find a very insightful data, and yeah, basically get more information for our trainings. So overall, I improved 15% in 2 months, 6% in the last month. Those are good numbers, right? Yes and no. In the end, most important thing that I learned probably training for Cowlands is that FTP, it's not all, and this is why I wanted to do this video, although to make this video to help some people out there as well that are maybe too focused on their FTP, because it happened to me as well. Last year I was super focused on FTP, and I realized that it does matter, but not as much as I would think. FTP mesh is something very specific. It's a 20 minutes test. I said that there are different versions, also 1 hour, but in the end you are going from a fresh state to an all-in effort to see what your threshold is, and it's not taking into account other possibilities on how tired you're going to be in 2, 3, 4 hours. And in the end, for ultra endurance races, this is something that we have to take into account. In the end, you need and you want to sustain that performance during long hours. You need to be prepared, you need to be eating, and in the end you want to be as fresh as possible in the 10th hour. So that's why this year I'm just focusing on how I'm feeling after these long trainings, how I'm feeling at the 6th hour, at the 10th hour. Am I still eating well? Is my stomach still reacting good to the carbs that I drink, to the normal food that I'm eating? This is the most important fact in the end, because if you are going to be out there for more than 20 hours, you need to pay attention to that, because in the end, being comfortable on the bike, feeling good, equals being fast. And this is not about FTP, of course. Again, the higher your FTP, the higher your value at the higher zone 2 will be, which will make you able to sustain this zone 2 for longer and at a higher wattage, that's for sure. But it's not the only metric that we should pay attention to. And this is my biggest mistake last year, for example. I know that I focused too much on it, and at some point I would even say that I stopped enjoying it. That's why this year I don't want to focus on that. I reduced massively the amount of hours I'm training, but in the end I'm enjoying more. And if I'm being honest, I didn't see reduce my performance, not by far at least. So yeah, this is everything that I wanted to share. So I'm not going to continue discussing about this nerdy stuff. If you are interested in this type of content, of course, let me know, but it's not my idea. In the end, I thought it was a nice opportunity to talk about the FTP, about how I measure my performance during the season as well, because I think it's important to do regular checkups. And since the weather is not so nice this week, I decided to do this video, preparing also for this weekend's bikepacking that is going to be soon in the channel as well. So if you don't want to miss it, please hit a like here and a subscribe button. That would make me super happy. And yeah, that was all for today. So thank you so much for staying, for following along, and see you next week. Bye bye.